is 5:15 on November 15th, 2022. I will call this meeting to order. Jane, you want to do roll call?
Shaven.
Present.
Kroger. Here. Bielenberg.
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
Lindberg.
Here.
Councilmember Rudolph is absent tonight.
We've all received the agenda, so we will make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Peterson, second by Shaven.
Roll call. Shaven.
Aye.
Kroger.
Aye.
Bielenberg.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Lindberg.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next up is the consent agenda. These are all under one motion to be approved. We have minutes of the 11/1/2022 council meeting and the walkthrough at Jerry Henscheid's building. Nice improvements made there on the square.
Very nice.
And it's nice that it's nearing the end. It's going to be done. So he did a nice job. Appreciate Jerry doing what he did. So the claims list, 1278, the amount of $348,502.85. We all saw some of the larger ones. We haven't probably said the other ones, but there's fewer. One major one took up 2/3 of that. It was the taxi lane project to the airport. HMU sewer landfill reconciliation report for October 2022. Expenditure and revenue reports for the month of October 2022. And the police statistical report for the month of October of 2022. Someone like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Kroger, second by Bielenberg.
Roll call. Shaven.
Aye.
Kroger.
Aye.
Bielenberg.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Lindberg.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next, we have to receive and file the minutes of the 11/8/2022 Park and Rec meeting. Everybody had a chance to see those? Probably, I'm guessing a few of those folks were there.
It was a quick meeting. Good meeting.
Is there a motion to approve those?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Lindberg, second by Kroger. Yep.
Roll call. Shaven.
Aye.
Kroger.
Aye.
Bielenberg.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Lindberg.
Aye.
And then out of that meeting, we need to approve the master plan and cost opinion for the Dream Playground. And I think we have someone who knows a lot more about it than most people in the room with Snyder Associates, Don Marner. Is that correct?
Correct.
We'll turn it over to you.
Great. Well, thank you. Don Marner with Snyder Associates, a landscape architect. And we were contacted to work on the Dream Playground at Pioneer Park. And so appreciate the opportunity, but we worked with city staff and also the Parks Committee assigned to this project for master planning, kind of that northwest area where we have the existing playground. The idea is that that wooden structure is to be redone and started looking at accessibility and new playground features and just really what that could be to the park area there. So the process that we went through is we did a site survey of that area that you're seeing on the screen, and then from that, then we held meetings, numerous meetings to talk about what's the programming, what do we want to have as the playground design, but also park features. So with that, in the master plan that you see is putting a new restroom up that would be handicap accessible, as well as to the new playground area. And the new playground would be in the same location as the existing, so elevation-wise, you can kind of see how that would fit in there. But we'd have a new restroom building, new parking lots, so you can come off the street, and all of the grades would be so that handicap accessible. So you come into the facility. We do have an entry area that we have some 3D images I'll kind of walk through here in a minute. As you walk into, that we're going to capture some of the existing wood structure there and kind of create a donor wall as well as you come into the park. And then as far as the other proposed improvements, is some of the sidewalks in the playground design itself, site lighting, so a lot of improvements with that. So what we did is, once we came up with those improvements, we kind of did the layout, and then came up with a cost opinion for that. We've completed other similar park projects with the playgrounds. So we looked at previous projects and budgets, kind of what to expect, what we're trying to accomplish with this. So once we did that, then we worked with the committee to create a request for proposal that went out to 4 different playground manufacturers that have equipment and have done this previously. So that, and then they submitted proposals then and designs, and then the committee reviewed that, actually did interviews, and selected Cunningham Recreation, and then with that, their product is Game Time. So that is what you see on these boards. I have a few more to go through, but that is, then we took that design then, and the budget that we had given them, and then we finalized the site improvements. So we have an overall, so the cost opinion that you see deals with the entire project for the site, what I call infrastructure improvements, which would be some grading, utilities to the new restroom, the restroom building itself, the site lighting, the entryway, and then the playground would include the rubberized surfacing, the equipment, and sub-drain to, again, make that all complete. So the current understanding is that, I'll address any questions you have, but kind of walk through some of the 3D rendering that we've got. But the idea is that we go and fundraise then after this, and then we can check back and kind of see how things are going as a project. Hopefully we move forward into this final design, just basically bid documents for a contractor to bid later on and then construct. So just a few more items, just to highlight. So with the entry, and I apologize, not everybody can see this, but up the upper left is kind of the entry area where we have a Pioneer Park playground. We've taken some of the columns here and the tops off the structures that are out there, and we refinished those and kind of tie that in, and then match the materials with the new restroom building as well. So I want to take some of that, and we could have donor plaques on those entryways. And then you can just kind of see some of the different play structures. Again, a lot of handicap accessible that they would be able to get on and move along. So it's all inclusive. Okay. And then, so what we've done is on this board, you can see there's the different views that we have looking at the structure itself. And then the third board, also showing some different components, a turtle and some different features throughout. A lot of climbing, there's rope play, there's just a lot of different equipment, the interaction for a variety of ages. So
there's a lot of sensory equipment too,
yes.
Correct?
Yeah, so that's worked into this, yes. Yeah, so again, the 4 playground manufacturers this went to all have that all-inclusive type equipment, and that's what they brought into this.
You'll see with some of the equipment and with the renderings, you'll see, again, with the merry-go-round, as well as even with the ramps that are connecting structures, those are all accessible for all able, enable or disabled body. So you see wheelchairs, they can actually get up on the ramps and the crosswalks. And then another key component, which is the safety feature, which is the port-in-place surfacing. And that is a significant cost to the overall project. Yet that is to meet safety standards and national safety standards. There's not one of the manufacturers we spoke with, nor with the design that we think is important for this marquee park in our community, that is a necessity, and that's a best practice from other communities that have done the same type of playground, be that Pella, Urbandale, Carroll, some south. So the port-in-place is the
yeah, and that allows accessibility for all kinds of mechanisms. So
And this is the color scheme?
this is the color scheme for the play equipment. As once the fundraising is done, then we would still have some meetings with the playground manufacturer to finalize, and then color of the surfacing we can work with on the final design. But yeah. But this is the color scheme selected up to this point.
Is that sand in the center or pea gravel or?
Yeah, what's the surface?
So that's all rubberized surfacing, that's just a color.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's patterns.
So it
we
just
can put in.
changes different colors throughout there, and that's,
So that turf makes it easier to get handicap accessible wheelchairs and things through, is why we have a turf.
It's a actual rubberized surface. And it's usually on average, 3 to 4 inches thick on average. But that has to do within the fall zone. So that's easy to maneuver. And then as opposed to the wood fiber, mulch type of surfacing. And also it helps with the fall zone. So the different play equipments, the higher the equipment, the thicker that rubberized surfacing is that would be installed. And there's tests that are done once that is installed to make sure it's meeting the requirements of the playground manufacturer and gets all certified and everything. So when you open it up to the public, then it meets all requirements.
and there is, at Time for Tots, I know Tim Miller and I have been down there.
Yep.
So if you've been to Time for Tots, the surfacing that's poured in place, quite similar. Can't recall how many years that's been there, yet Tim and I have been down there in the last 6 months, and it probably wouldn't get as much use as this public playground would, yet gives you a good idea of the surfacing and how it wears and how it's designed. That already exists in one area of our community.
Yeah, and then what happens is in the construction of it, it's actually laid on a concrete base and different elevations to accommodate what's needed out there. There's rubberized surfacing that companies come in and place that and then add the color to the surface.
Do we know what the average lifespan of that is?
It has a warranty. I'd have to check to see. Everyone's a little different if it's 10 or 15 years, something like that, yeah. But we've installed them, and I've got projects that are 15 years and they're still, they haven't had to. They do regular testing just from those fall zone areas and haven't had to replace it, so.
As far as any fall protection, the only way to go to have it be all-inclusive and accessible is this poured in place. It is tried and true, it is used throughout the United States and the world, many different climates, and that this is the only surfacing that should be considered for this. Wood mulch is considered handicap accessible. If anybody's push a wheelchair through wood mulch, that's a little different. This is a great surface, and it's the only surface that should be considered for this project.
Sharon asked a great question in terms of the color, and the topic of color, as well as the specific pieces of playground equipment. The steering committee, as well as some of the park committee, we've come back to that a number of times, and nothing's for certain until a purchase order and down payment is made. So this is the rendering and what's most likely to be there. Yet could a specific piece of equipment be shifted out? You bet. Is this the final color scheme? No, but based on all discussions to date, this is the most likely. And I guess Mike or Tim, you want to add to that?
Well, it fits the park.
And it's a common question, yet again, it's not locked in until we've got the fund of some money and an actual order is made.
So I have a question on the proposal, for the project pricing. And I know fundraising is in the plan, I understand that, but I was just looking at the removal of the existing play equipment is 30 grand. Is that something we're looking like?
So everything you're
community-
looking at, this is exactly what it's called, a cost opinion.
Right, no, I'm just,
Okay,
all I
so-
know.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of things like the removal, we will do the removal, but there's still gonna be costs associated with, so, yeah, 30,000 might be high, it could be low.
My
Yeah.
question though was, who is the "we"? Is it community volunteers, or is it city staff, or who is the "we"?
For demolition for that, we would be the city staff, just for liability.
Okay, well, the community built it,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
it's
So,
just asking.
Yeah.
I'll pipe in on that as well. So for the public and for everyone here, it was discussed and evaluated. should this be a community build, or, so the direction is to not have this be a community build like it was 28, 30 years ago, and former Mayor Colby and also former Park Chair that was involved with that 30 years ago. In our discussions and talking with our communities, as well as to achieve a community build on this would be quite difficult, we believe. And also having a community build on this type of equipment. So these are, this cost opinion includes having the manufacturer install it.
Right, and I get the installation part, I was thinking more on the demolition side. Again, we built it as a community, so can we help dismantle it as a
Well,
community?
there's going to be a couple of great questions that come up with that, Sharon, as this process, as we kick it off. I have 2 phone calls on people that are interested in a certain piece of the
Sure.
Green Playground.
Yeah, because they built it.
Because they built it,
Yep.
and so they want it. So, you know, yeah, so it's going to be, it's very, one of Gene's favorite words, very fluid on how the destruction.
Well, for some citizens, that may be their only contribution that they can give, is their time. So just asking.
Yeah,
Good piece.
it's so far up in the air right now, yeah, we're going to figure it out, because, you know, there's a lot of good lumber there too that, you know, let's figure out what we're going to do with it.
Exactly.
So,
Thanks.
She's trying to say Randy's bored, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, you know. But we and our kids helped, I mean, we participated in that, so yeah, it's got a piece of our heart, of course.
I
Yeah.
understand that completely.
I'm sure there's a few slivers out there that we're taking home too.
Rub a little dirt on it.
Yeah. Any other questions for Don? Do you have any more that you want to tell us?
No, I think that's the main thing, it's just, this is where we're at in that master plan process, and again, the next thing is fundraising, and then depending on how that goes, and we sit back down and sort out those more detailed things of where we can cut in the budget, or what, you know, with the so.
Thank you.
Thanks.
If I may, Mayor?
Sure.
Just to add, thank you, Don, for coming out and presenting with all the work and planning as this is a key public feature for our community. These 2 things do take time. You know, we started planning and discussing, we've been discussing it a couple of years and really got into planning here in the last 8 to 12 months. Would like to give recognition to, there's been a steering committee of 10 community members outside of our 5-member Park and Rec Board. You know, Mike Colby's been one of those individuals, and some others that were not able to be here tonight. That steering committee has helped with manufacturing interviews, with getting to this design. The next steps and timing, again, this is all fluid, but the next steps is the steering committee has 2 subgroups, which is a fundraising group as well as a grants team, and seeking out specific grants, both large and small. So as a community, expect to hear a lot more of that in the next 60 to 90 days, is best guesstimate there. If all goes well, the spring of '24, so that'd be, if we look 12 to 14 months from now, as to where we can achieve, what our number looks like to meet approximately $1.5 million. That seems like a big price tag. Would like to bring attention to that, you know, half of that is infrastructure, restroom and parking lot, and half of that is a playground. So, and that we'll share, this cost opinion was in your packet, and this will be highlighted in our fundraising packet materials as well. And there'll be opportunities to have either, I'm sure, areas of the playground or specific features or climbing areas that will have naming rights. Is how the fundraising materials will be put together. That's our best look at kind of next steps and timing.
Okay. Anybody else?
Exciting to get to this point.
Is there a motion to approve the master plan and cost opinion for the Dream Playground?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Peterson, second by Shaven.
Roll call Shaven.
Aye.
Kroger.
Aye.
Bielenberg.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Lindberg.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike, for coming. I know you're one of the founding fathers of back when it started, and I appreciate what and people like you giving your time and continuing. So, thanks for coming tonight. So.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. It's probably one of those things too, that pictures really don't even kind of do it justice when you would be able to see the finalized product and some great detail in there. Be exciting.
Next up is review and approve the Exchange Street Stream Bank Stabilization Project change order number 1.
Thank you, Don.
Those are, he's going to take
Yes.
those. Okay.
Yep, those renderings for us.
I think we all saw the change order had to add in some more, remove some trees and add in some more rock
Yes.
once they got involved in that.
This project, as was anticipated, was able to be completed quite expeditiously. And through that, again, there were a few areas that, in terms of getting equipment in and/or to do the right stabilization, had a few more removing and grubbing, as well as ended up placing some more revetment for the long-term stabilization. So that's what the change order relates to. That was approximately, well, not approximately, it was in your packet, $7,182. So would want approval on that change order prior to paying the pay app number 1.
Is there a motion to approve that?
A motion. Second.
Motion by Lindberg, second by Peterson.
Roll call, Shaven.
Aye.
Kroger.
Aye.
Bielenberg.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Lindberg.
Aye.
Next is the resolution 2514 to accept and approve the
Do we do the second as far as the pay app as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got your glasses
We'll
on?
Oh,
do 2.
skip right over that one, sorry.
Needs an eye doctor.
Yeah, there's a couple good ones, and I don't know if I'm on that list. So.
You know a good eye doctor.
All right, let's move on to C, remove and approve the Exchange Street Stream Bank Stabilization Project and certificate of completion.
And I did have a photo here as well. If you've not been on the site, this is my best photo work, so, but quite a dramatic change. Again, this is that critical vital area where we wanted to mitigate any further erosion. And since I took these photos, the seeding has been done. So if you're down there now, you'll see that.
I went down there, yes, there was still some stuff going on. Was somebody else doing something down there? They closed, the street was closed, you couldn't go through there. They were doing some tree work or something? I went down there to look and it was still blocked off. Maybe it was the end of last week or Monday, yesterday, maybe.
Not sure.
So that wasn't part of, I don't think it was a part of this, I guess. Maybe somebody else had.
Yeah, this was finished by, week and a half ago.
Okay, yeah, there was
I'm
something
not
else
sure what-
going on down there this last week, so. Good.
Yeah, so the hydro seeding's been done, and then if it needs to be overseeded in the spring, they would come back and do that.
Okay.
There's a visual of it, and it is completed, and this would be the payout for it.
Is there any comments back from neighbors or neighborhood on the improvements?
I've not had any directly, no. Yet I can only imagine that it's appreciated.
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the certificate of completion?
Motion.
Payout.
Second.
Motion by Kroger, second by Lindberg.
Roll call, Shaven.
Aye.
Kroger.
Aye.
Bielenberg.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Lindberg.
Aye.
Thank you.
Now let's try and do D. Resolution 2514, accept and approve fiscal year 2022 annual urban renewal report for the fiscal year ending June 30th of 2022.
This resolution to approve this report and the next resolution to approve the next report are annual financial reports and urban renewal reports that actually report to the Department of Management what has occurred in the city. This one has to do with urban renewal projects that have occurred in our urban renewal areas, and it's a recap of the things that we've already approved last year on the budget from July 1 of 21 to June 30 of 22. So it's reported to the Department of Management, those things that have already happened that were approved by you guys the year before. So it's a recap of a report that is required by the state of Iowa to be submitted, and has to be submitted by December 1st. So this is, that's the first one. So if you want to do that one first.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Lindberg, second by Bielenberg.
Roll call: Shaven,
Aye.
Kroger,
Aye.
Bielenberg,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Lindberg.
Aye.
And then next up is Resolution 2515 to accept and approve fiscal year 21-22 annual financial report.
And this also is a recap of all of our financial information that has happened over the last fiscal year, again, approved by the council and passed. It's a recap that's required by the state of Iowa to be reported to them. So this is also required to be published. It has been published in the newspaper, and so the affidavit of publication and page 1 is required to be sent to the Department of Management. Once we both have to sign off on that, then after it's approved by the council. This is anything that was budgeted or amended for, that's all been included in this report. That's already been approved and amended by the council. So it's kind of a recap of everything that's already happened. So it's required, and it's quite detailed. Both reports are very detailed and have, all the information that's occurred in our city. We also report on the HMU's proprietary accounts, so their revenue and expenses for gas, electric, telecommunications, water. So that's also included in this report. So we get those numbers from Monty. He works with us, and so we get those numbers for that. And anybody have any questions on any of the pages?
There's a wealth of information, and it is
a lot of numbers.
taken from all the systems that's already been approved.
Yeah.
Checks and balances.
Yep, that's what it is.
I will make that motion for 2515 as well.
I'll second.
Motion by Lindberg, second by Bielenberg.
Roll call: Shaven,
Aye.
Kroger,
Aye.
Bielenberg,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Lindberg.
Aye.
Thank you.
So we've got all the approvals of what we've already approved taken care of. Let's we'll move on to review the travel reimbursement policy clarification.
This is a clarification. This policy already exists. It's already been approved by the council. The only part that's clarified is the bottom of that policy, and that's in regards to personal credit card use and reimbursement. So what the clarification does is just clarifies what is required to receive personal reimbursement for a personal credit card expense. And this is for transparency. Does anyone have any questions on that?
Okay, is there a motion to approve the clarification?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Peterson, second by Lindberg.
Roll call: Shaven,
Aye.
Kroger,
Aye.
Bielenberg,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Lindberg.
Aye.
Thank you.
And that'll go effective
Immediately.
immediately today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next up is the city administrator's report. Gene.
Cover a few items this evening. First and foremost, celebration. Some of you may have seen this on social media, shared this with a report to you. I simply took a cut and paste from what was on the police department page, and congratulations to Officer Blake Patton as he's completed his academy training. Had the honor of attending that last Thursday with Chief Mott and Sergeant Peterson, and a fine young officer with a great class of other officers serving other communities, counties, and cities as well. So it's great to have Blake back, and great to have a member of the community, and was able to meet some of his family. And I believe he'll be an excellent addition to our family as well here at the City of Harlan. So I wanted to recognize him and welcome him back from his 8 to 9 weeks of training. The police department did some initial testing last weekend for the officer candidates. They are doing additional interviews this week as follow-up to that physical testing, and I'm not sure exactly when they're scheduled this week. But those interviews for those open officer positions are underway. Handful of some other updates. The crack sealing on the street was completed by State Built. We were able to accomplish about 90 blocks, a significant amount of crack seal work that we were able to get accomplished. And again, you want to do that when it's cooler or lower temperatures, when you can get the most product in those to seal those up. And that is a standard pavement preservation technique, and we've tried to really stay on top of that the last 4 or 5 years, and was able to get that completed. Spoke to the taxi lane project, was at the airport, and I believe I've got we received weekly reports from our engineers on the project. All of the concrete work is now done. Significant improvements. We had an airport meeting this morning, which Sharon's the liaison for that commission, and one of the commission members is also a pilot. We were joking a bit. He says, "Oh my gosh," he said, "just pulling my plane out and getting." He said,
around.
Yep. So we were having quite the conversation around. He's maybe just out here driving his plane around the taxi lanes because such a nice ride after 30, 40, 50-year-old asphalt that really needed attention. But here's some photos of the type of activity that has been completed. The joint sealing is now finished. They're going to wait until the spring to finish up the grading and seeding. That project is, for the most part, substantially completed, and great to have that improvement done at the airport. As started happening today, there was a few white snowflakes that were taking place outside, and between our facilities, parks, and streets teams, the snow warriors and all of them are ready. I think most of the equipment's ready. Is that right, Tim? He's
Yep.
giving a thumbs up.
The equipment is.
Yeah.
But we know that time of year is upon us, and really, hats off to, first of all, your support of getting a lot of updated equipment between both departments, between a new loader, a new blower. I know there's been new equipment in the parks and facilities with blowers and brooms, and just really to equip us quite well to attack that most efficiently. So thanks for your ongoing support there, and I know our teams appreciate that. The last two items is that we've started into the budget planning season. So in fact, today we've met with some of our department heads. We'll be meeting with you 2 weeks from now with our department to present their budgets. We're knee, elbow, and neck deep into budget planning season, so those activities are taking place. And the last item, just want to reiterate, and this took place this morning at the County Board of Supervisors meeting, and they also passed a resolution which was passed by this team in our last meeting about the support of EMS and what's looming. And I know the newspaper, today's newspaper had
Very good article.
an excellent article, bless you, an excellent article on that as well. And so more to come up on that for the community in Shelby County. And the stakeholder group is continued meeting. In fact, we have a meeting tomorrow with our finance team, finance committee on that. Once again, leading up to, likely on next November's ballot, is deeming EMS an essential service. And as crazy as it seems, it's not considered an essential service at the state level, but we can adopt that at a county level. And at last week's election, there were 5 counties, I think I shared that article with you, but 5 counties in the state that did go through the vote and all adopted EMS as an essential service, which would then allow for a tax to be levied for that service to ensure it's reliable, sustainable, and all the things that we feel are important for Harlan and Shelby County. So it was just nice to see that loop closed with the County Board of Supervisors addressing that today and passing the same resolution. It's been in front of the Hospital Board of Trustees, this elected body, and the Board of Supervisors. A lot of work ahead, and but certainly laying the groundwork for this. Any questions you might have for me? Those are the highlights of a few things taking place.
Thanks, Gene. Yeah, I know that last topic is going to be a topic for a while. So appreciate all the effort that's gone into that, the county and hospital and the city too. So, under my report, I have tonight, I need to ask you to consider reappointing Michelle Erickson to the HMU board. She was filling in like the last 2 years for someone who had to step down, and she's done that.
Condoleezza left.
So, and she's shown an interest to continue that, because it's a 6-year, normally a 6-year term, and we all know that's a pretty strong learning curve to sit on that board. And so she expressed interest. She did want to stay. I talked to Joe, I talked to the chairman, Dave, I talked to a few of you. I would recommend that we reappoint Michelle Erickson to the HMU Board of Trustees.
I would make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Kroger, second by Lindberg.
Roll call, Shaven,
Aye.
Kroger,
Aye.
Peelenberg,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Lindberg.
Aye.
Thank you.
That's all I have, other than go Cyclones. They've got a big game coming up here one of these days. Another one. And I grew up here, a lot of you who have been here too, take for granted what happens every fall. And when you go to these games and you listen to the announcer talk about, okay, we'll see you next weekend, Cyclones, for your 14th attempt at the state championship, and 40 out of 23 out of how many years they've been there in the finals. And, you know, it doesn't get old. But if you're sitting on the other side and you got some of these schools that want to listen to that, I just, we are lucky we have been where we've been, because you don't take for granted. And we celebrated the 50-year anniversary of the Team 72 team that was the first team in the state of Iowa, and that was an all-state deal. I was at that game, you know, scooping him. I wasn't very old, and I'm a little bit older now, but you think those guys that came back and to celebrate those guys too. And now we got some youngsters that are going to try and hopefully another 50 years we'll celebrate them, you know, down the road. But it's a lot of effort for our community and our school and coaches and kids that put the time in to get there. Because I say there's like the team we're playing. Don't think they've been there in a long time, and they're not going for their 14th championship. So let's go Cyclones. Good luck. I'll turn it over to Todd Deline in Shelby County Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Thank you. Just actually just some dates, a couple reminders. One, thank you to the Nishnabotna Valley REC. I don't know if you saw them out on the grounds of the courthouse today, but there's a little over 30 of them there volunteering their time to help put up the lights around the square. And being one of the youngest people who normally is involved in doing that, we're all very happy that they were able to volunteer and help out with that. So, and so a reminder that Saturday after Thanksgiving, November 26th, so it's screaming up on us really quick, that'll be the day that is Small Business Saturday throughout the country. So hopefully we'll get some folks shopping throughout Shelby County. We'll have a recipe walk down here on the square from 10 to 3. And then later that evening, we'll light up the county Christmas tree and kick off the season. So,
What day was that, Todd?
it's the 26th of November, that Saturday. Then on Thursday, December 8th, something that we started a few years ago that's become really popular, we'll have Santa in the cabins at the Shelby County Historical Museum from 5 to 7. So we have Santa in one of the historic cabins and kind of decorated up the way it would have been looking in the 1800s. And invite kids and families to come out, have a lot of activities for them to do inside the museum, as well as then they can visit Santa there. And then finally, kind of a ambassador visit of note on Friday, December 16th. That'll be at the Harlan Veterinary Associates and Referral Center, because Dr. Matt Sternberg, that'll be his last day. He's moving on to do other things. So it'll be not only saying goodbye to Matt, but welcoming Kristen Westergaard. Kristen has purchased the Veterinary Association from him, and so she'll be starting up. So if you get a chance to join us again, that's Friday the 16th, and that'll be at 10 o'clock in the morning. And that's it. The chamber is in full event season. We'll be having Santa here. We're doing, Santa Claus is coming to town in 4 different towns in the county. We'll be running all over the place. So you'll see this out and about.
Are you still looking for sponsors?
Yes. We always welcome sponsors to help with these types of events. So, yeah. And again, there's not a dollar amount, just whatever somebody would like to donate to help out would be good.
And all those little items are all lit up. When I came down here tonight to the meeting, around the square, it was festive.
It's festive, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And we are still working on getting those few lights down there that
Oh,
are
the buildings.
above building lights that are either out or we got one strand that's blinking really weird. But we're just trying, with everything else in the world today, we're just trying to find the parts. If we can find the parts, we'll get it fixed. So.
Does the music officially switch over to holiday music on the 26th, or?
That's what I was going to ask, because I know the guy that's in charge.
Yeah.
I asked a few folks yesterday, I said, when do you think it's officially, and I'm old fashioned, it's Thanksgiving taken care of, and then change it, but I'm sure it could be
I think we should do
changed.
it on that Saturday,
Okay.
because I kind of blame the change to the cold weather on people who already have their Christmas tree.
Okay.
I think Mother Nature's a little upset.
I'll see if I can find the Beach Boys or something to play for a couple of days.
First, and then we'll do Christmas.
Okay,
All right.
sounds good.
Thanks.
I'll say it's been officially, came from the guy in charge, so yeah. All right, next up, Joe Ruscherberg, Harlan Municipal Utilities.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Joe.
Good evening.
Just about 4 items here. First, I had been kind of mentioning through part of our water project is this tie with power and fiber line going towards the water treatment, or the sewage treatment plant. And I think I mentioned we tried working with Todd Larson. We ended up going on the other side of the fence, north side of that fence that divides him and like checking receipts there. We are ready to sign a temporary easement with Danny and Carol Wooden on the west side of the river, just a temporary easement to set up, do the boring. And right now, we're waiting to hear back from Scheckner Seed Company's attorney as far as the permanent easement on the east side of the river. But everything was positive when I first initially talked to Scheckner Seed Company, or a couple of representatives. So that shouldn't be an issue, so that should move forward with both those easements. On the back of reappointing Michelle Erickson, we did receive word from Randy Reese. He has actually informed us that he will be moving sometime in January, middle of January, just trying to get closer to family. So his last HMU board meeting would be in December. So we'll have to start looking at a replacement for him also on the board. He's been on there 4 years, I think, here. Been a good board member. We hate to see him go, but like I said, he's just wanting to get closer to family, so we understand that and wish him the best of luck.
So this person would fill out his term then, Joe? You have a couple of years
Yeah,
left?
I gotta go back and look at I think he's still got a couple years left. I gotta double check when he was up for sure, but
2 or 3.
yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yep. And then I just want to I think I'd mentioned too, we're working at kind of cleaning up the old facilities down there. We do have some excess equipment, trailers, an old dump truck that was kind of, down in the area that we no longer need. So we're looking at, I think it's about 8 to 10 pieces of equipment. We're going to go ahead and put those on like our website, on our public notice portion of our website, on Facebook, and then probably on KUD's classifieds to try to get some public bids for those, pieces of equipment, mostly trailers, so forth, besides that dump truck. So we're trying to get things cleaned up there, so that'll be coming back around. We got pictures taken already, we just got to get them placed on those sites. And then I just wanted to, I think we we talked about this previously, but wanted to make have a reminder of our customer appreciation luncheon, I guess we're calling it. You know, it's not gonna be an evening, it's gonna be 11 to 2 on December 13th. And I think I mentioned before, we're calling it Santa and soup, because we're gonna do like a couple different soups and cornbread and maybe cinnamon rolls. Just something we're trying instead of an evening, meal. Santa will be around probably, we're gonna have a Santa there from 11 to 2. I think he'll be handing out some candy canes at that point. And then he will also be available 3 to 5 down there at the vets, is where we're hosting it. That way, customers can bring in, children and get pictures with Santa also. So,
Good deal.
You said it's December 13th, John?
December 13th,
Okay.
11 to 2. Okay, any questions? Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
Joe.
you.
Any comments from the public tonight? Doesn't look like it. How about over here? Anybody want to?
I want to make a reminder to everyone to, if you haven't had a chance to fill out the survey for the sewer improvements, I would encourage everyone to do that survey. You can go online, the city website. We have a QR code also on Facebook. You can just take a picture of that and it'll take you right to the survey. There's 3 questions is all. It goes directly to SWIPCO, so it's confidential. And they're trying to get as many responses as possible so they don't have to go door to door to get the remainder of those responses. So if you haven't done it, please do it. We appreciate it. We're trying to do some sewer improvements, and for us to be able to apply for that grant, that is one of the requirements, is to do that LMI study, so.
And to piggyback on that too, it wasn't the $1,500,000 maximum grant that we're looking at too for our water project. Does not have to, it's not required to have the LMI survey done, but it could possibly help.
You guys too.
Yeah, so we're looking at, hopefully trying to use that information for the LMI. So to that point, with our celebration on the 13th of December, we have invited SWITCO to set up a table at that celebration. So when we get some of our HMU customers coming in for that meal, we're going to try to, they'll have a table set up to try to get people signed up. They have not completed that survey.
That's
Just to try
wonderful.
to help move things along, so.
Wonderful.
That's on Facebook.
Yeah, it's on our Facebook, it's on our website, yeah, and there's flyers they've placed all over town. If you don't have access to a computer, you can come in and to City Hall or the library, the public computers there. We can help you do it, we can do it for you, we can do it with you, however, it's just, they just need to get 485 responses, and we need about half of that yet. So.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll get the numbers coming through for that meal there too.
Yeah.
It'll be the same thing. I mean,
Yeah.
they'll be there to help them fill out it,
Yeah.
on paper if they need to.
Thank you.
Anybody on this side?
No, just good, happy Thanksgiving.
That's right. Yeah, well,
Holidays coming up.
Coming on fast.
Christmas music on the 26th. Meeting adjourned.
You're in charge.